What's going on, football fans? Back for another Truck Thoughts. As I was cruising around, perusing social medias yesterday and day after a tough loss at the hands of the fighting Kyle Shanahan's, I saw a lot of sentiments about, do we need to be thinking about like either moving on from Arthur Smith, or how are we grading Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot? And I just had to kind of chuckle because, yeah, has there been some times this season that has left you shaking your head? Yeah, of course. I mean, there's been times that I've been shaking my head, not just with some of the play calling, but just some of the decisions all the way around. Like, you knew your offensive line was what it was, and you didn't do much to try to fix it. So that, like, stuff like that leaves me shaking my head. But just like with players, I'm not willing to throw anybody away after the first year. I mean, we're not even a full season in, and, some people are already questioning, whether he should be the coach going forward or he should be the GM going forward. And I think some of y'all are losing the sight of the fact that at this junction, we have more wins this year than we've had the previous 2 years for sure. At least the early part of December, we were talking about, the possibility of playoffs with as bad of a roster as we have. So I think that we might be, as a fan base, a little spoiled from the early success that Mike Smith and even Dan Quinn had. So we kind of expect these guys to come in and just hit the ground running, and it doesn't always happen like that. I mean, I harken back to, not saying this is how it's going to turn out, but I harken back to Belichick's early years in Cleveland. Like, I think he only had one winning season. And then his first year in New England wasn't winning. And then all of a sudden, boom, dynasty, right? I'm not trying to say that that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that to think about, like, moving on from coach or GM after year one in this type of situation, I think that's how you end up being a bottom feeder franchise and staying there. Kind of reminds me of, like, there's already rumors circulating around David Cooley down there in Texas being let go after 1 year, and that just don't sit well with me. Same thing with years past with Jim Tomsula out there in San Francisco. I'm not saying that Tomsula was a good coach, but, man, you didn't even give him a chance. Steve Wilkes in Arizona, not even giving him a real chance. I believe even Vance Joseph in Denver wasn't given much of a chance. So all I'm really trying to say is we don't give up on rookies after 1 year. At least I don't. I figure, I've always said, and you'll hear me say it in draft time and throughout the season, like, you don't know what you have in a rookie until at least year 3, minimum. Even as bad as Jalen Mayfield has been this year, I'm still not willing to walk away from Jalen Mayfield. He has shown you some glimpses here and there of being a good, solid player. Now, guys like Caleb McGarry, they're on their way out. You've given them time. They have not produced. So all I'm really saying is that, like, let's see what they do this offseason. Let's see what they do with a full year under their belt, understanding who they have on the roster, how they want to build a team, so on and so forth. You remember Fontenot got hired late, right, in the process. So now he's had a full season to be in his position. I'd imagine there's going to be some interesting decisions made, whether it's with Debo or Calvin Ridley or even Grady Jarrett. That's not to even mention the 1 year guys who were stopgaps to begin with. So I say in this particular truck thought on a Tuesday afternoon leading up to Christmas that pump the brakes on that kind of thinking and that kind of talk, in my opinion. You got to give some of these guys a little bit more time to really apply the vision that they have. I know some of us may, at times, even myself, may have got a little ahead of ourselves thinking that they could come in and turn it around quick. But it became pretty apparent that this roster is depleted for a lot of different reasons. And, they got a tough hill to climb. But I think at times you have seen the vision, you have seen the culture start to shift in how they want to play and how they want the games to be played. I think now it's more a matter of time of just getting in the guys they want. There's some things that the front office can do to be able to do that a little quicker. Now to be interesting just to see how they go about it, whether it's, extending Matt Ryan, extending Grady Jarrett, that kind of stuff. That could get you some more money to play with right up front. But the roster construction going into this offseason is going to tell you a lot by how they see it, it's going to tell you more about how they view it versus what they're saying, I guess. There is even a train of thought where you leave Matt Ryan's contract alone and just let it ride until you can get out from under it. So all I'm trying to say in this particular truck thought is trying to pull the ripcord on Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot after one season with a bad roster, I think is really premature. I think they've done a great job in the amount of wins that they've gotten and the play that they've been able to get out of certain players. My big concern as of right now is the O-line. What are you going to do there? Do you make any form of changes or what have you? That's my biggest concern and will continue to be so until I see some form of improvement. But as far as wanting to move on from Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith, it's way too early to tell. And so, yeah, that's my truck thoughts. Catch us live on Wednesday. I believe we'll have a full house. Me, Mike, and Toby will be at the helm, if I'm not mistaken, and be talking about, chopping up this San Francisco loss and looking ahead towards Detroit. So can't wait to see y'all, and we'll holler at you then. Peace.